Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something clicked. I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it. And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny. I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist.
This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening.
It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session. I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Okay. So, do you have any parts you'd like to get to know better or change your relationship with?
I think when I'm thinking about getting an award for my work, which is called the Exceptional Achievements Award.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. And it's being handed out for the first time. It's been given to me for engineering work that I've done within the last 4 years, which have been frustrating at some point, which have been which were during the time I was always in need of support, and I often did not get what I want. And to some extent, when I will get this award next week, I think I feel exposed on the stage. And often when people congratulate me, I also feel exposed and cannot fully understand it. So the part that I'm looking at probably is something that is kind of keeping me accepting it. And I cannot already put it really on a part.
Okay.
There's multiple ones, I think.
Probably. So when someone congratulates you, what sensations come up in or around your body?
My cheeks flush. Feeling flattered a little bit. It depends on the person, actually. If it's someone who knows my work, I'm flattered. If it's someone I know that has done exceptional work as well and would be someone to receive this much more than I would, I feel embarrassed.
Okay.
And it happens a lot in my cheeks. And if I think about it more closely, it's also in my chest, I would say.
Okay. And so that's the more of the embarrassed part?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the one you'd like to investigate?
More the one that is feeling exposed, I think.
Okay. So you mentioned that the feeling of exposure happens when you think about being on the stage, but also when people congratulate you.
Yeah.
Okay. And what does that feel like?
feels like spotlights being turned on me, which is, exposition.
Mm-hmm.
A bit of being used, if I think about it being on the stage, because then it's also kind of a PR thing for the people giving me the award.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. It's so tricked and thumbled up, and
Yeah.
there's also
go ahead.
the feeling that I'm a woman, and it might look like that this is especially given to a woman because right now it's very in to give stuff to women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
and all of this goes into the exposure.
Okay. Feeling of exposure, then the feeling like being used because it's a PR thing, and then this feeling like maybe not earning it properly, or that it's given to you because you're a woman.
Yeah.
Something like that. Mm-hmm. Is there more, or is there one of those that you would like to focus on the most? I know you've said exposed, and you say that these are related to being exposed.
In the end, I want to know why I cannot fully accept it and just be happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest question.
Yeah. Okay. To me, that sounds different from the feeling of being exposed. And I'm curious how it is for you. If that not wanting to accept it feels like the same or feels like a different part of not wanting to be exposed.
Yeah, it's a different feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the connection is the understanding of what I do. So if, for example, there was another engineer who's an expert in my field, he offered me a job.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something I could accept if the circumstances were different.
Mm-hmm.
And that I really feel flattered about. So this is something I really am happy about, and I really can feel that this is something good.
Mm-hmm. So the job offer you could accept, but something about the award not wanting to accept.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe we can ask those other parts. If it's not the one that's worried about being exposed, that is, the one that doesn't want to accept the award. Maybe we can ask the fear, concern about being exposed part to step back and see if it'll just let you just focus on the feeling of not wanting to accept it.
Hard to separate the two.
I'm sorry, you said you're hesitant to separate them?
It's hard to separate the two. Yeah.
Sure. Yes. It's one of the reasons why we usually start with just the feelings in the body, because putting names to all of these things is so difficult sometimes. And one of the reasons why I'm asking so much about this is because when you talked about being exposed, I'm thinking about like, don't want to be on stage in front of a bunch of people, which I think is very common, kind of a universal experience. And so I'm just looking for, not, I'm happy to explore that with you. I'm just wondering if there's something else, again, like not wanting to accept the award, that feels like it's more interesting or more up for you, more present for you to examine. So it's your choice.
It's definitely not the being afraid to be on stage thing. That's something I can deal with.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the relation to the person who's handing it to me.
Interesting.
So I know already who will that be, and that is a person that does know almost nothing about my work except what they had in the nomination written stuff.
Okay. And how does that feel when you think about accepting it from that specific person? What feelings come up in or around your body?
It's in my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting hot.
Mm-hmm.
Like a push back.
And how do you feel towards that part as you notice it there?
I have a part that says you have to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I cannot say no to this.
Yeah. So there's that part that says that this part that wants to push it back shouldn't do that, and that it should, or that you should accept the award.
Yeah.
Can't say no. Mm-hmm. Okay. So those parts are they have some tension between them, kind of that dynamic or polarity. The one that doesn't want it and the one that says we do want it or we should want it.
It's rather should than a real want.
Yeah.
So maybe it feels untruthful.
Mm-hmm. And does the part that says you should want it, is that the same part that says wants to push it away?
No.
Okay. So try asking the part that says you should want it, if it will step back and give you a little space so that you can get to know the one that wants to push it away, and just see how it responds to that.
Think of what wants to stand on the side and have a look.
Okay. But it's able to give you some space.
I hope so.
Parts can always jump back in if they need to.
Mm.
And I think parts observing is fine too. Just as long as it's you who's there and connecting with this hot part in the chest that's pushing back. So how are you feeling towards it now as you notice it there?
You can feel the heat and the pressure that it's radiating.
Yeah, let it know that you feel that you're really tuned in and feeling what it's creating.
I can see that it's fighting for something or against.
Okay. And are you feeling curious about getting to know more about that?
Yeah. I want to know if it's for or against something.
Okay. So let it know that you're curious, that you want to get to know it. And just ask it to tell you what it wants you to know.
It wants to be left alone.
Mm-hmm.
It wants to get back in its comfy zone.
Mm-hmm. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Let it know it makes sense to you.
It's overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. And see if you can just learn more about what that overwhelm is about, what its concerns are.
Concern on the surface, I believe, is more to get more work and to be more getting more people coming around and wanting stuff, and the need to get too involved into more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But that's more on the surface, I think.
Yeah. And does that make sense to you that's a concern, a valid concern?
Absolutely.
Yeah, me too. Mm-hmm.
And it also includes there's people there's a thought I had today about this. That was people are talking about me, but not asking me how my work looks like. They don't want to understand what I'm doing and where I actually need support, and others in my field here as well. So it's a need of understanding there.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also an overwhelm of feelings, lots of mixed feelings, and getting overwhelmed by that. Like the shame and the for non-deserving and the, kind of a little bit of a volcano coming up.
Okay. Are you okay with what it's showing you right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen it before, and now it's putting all this together in a picture.
Yeah. Just let it know that you're okay with it showing you and telling you what it needs to. That you're not feeling overwhelmed right now. You can just ask more about that kind of feeling of shame or non-deserving.
You have to calm it down a bit.
Yeah, and you don't have to do any of this. So don't go forward if it doesn't feel right for you. And you also don't have to share any of it with me. So if this part tells you something that's private, that's fine.
I think it's wondering why I get this award. Why do I get this if there's so many other people around that deserve it more, that have done exceptional things as well, just in a different project or a different place?
Yeah.
And I cannot understand that.
Yeah. You might ask if this part has felt this way before. Like, does the feeling of non-deserving, does it feel like that's something that it's been concerned about from an earlier age? Or is it just about this award?
There has often been feelings of fake it till you make it.
Mm-hmm.
And I rarely get real feedback on if I'm meeting the expectations
Okay, yeah.
from others.
Yeah. So, yeah, it just doesn't have that trust of if their feedback is appropriate or enough. And just that, like you said, that need of being understood.
Mm.
And does it all make sense to you as you're noticing all of this about it?
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Just let it know that it makes sense to you. It sounds like it's trying to protect you from those feelings of shame. And if that's the case, just see if you can show it some appreciation for its intention.
I start smiling.
It's smiling?
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I start smiling. So probably it is too.
Uh-huh. Yeah, do you see it or do you... Go ahead.
I told it I'm thankful it's faking it until it's making it.
Sometimes you gotta, right?
Yeah.
Are you able to see this part or do you just sense it?
It doesn't have a definite form.
Mm-hmm.
It's more this sense of pressure and heat.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
More pressure than heat now.
Yeah. You could ask what it would rather be doing with its energy if it didn't have to work so hard in this way.
I think it's too scared to think about that.
Yeah, too scared to think about not doing this job. Yeah, that makes sense.
Relax. I think I would like to relax.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we would only ever, we're just trying to plant the seed of what it would look like for this part to have less of that burden. And a big part of that would be you in this kind of self-leadership, and you taking it on, or you going to the parts maybe that feels shame and healing that or changing that so that this part doesn't have to focus so much on those things.
Yeah, if it could trust that it wouldn't have to fake it until it makes it.
Right.
Then it could go a long way, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's kind of the big picture of IFS is you going to the different parts that, have whatever hurt in them or burdens, and just seeing how you can work with them. And eventually, this part might be able to reevaluate its role because you've gone to other parts to help them.
I think for it to be able to think about letting go of that role, I would need to understand where this shame and this being afraid of not being enough comes from.
I think you're right. And that is the most common experience, I believe, is that we have these protective parts that push and pull, and what they're protecting us from are exiles, and the exiles are almost universally having an experience of not being good enough or something along those lines. And that's exactly how we would help out the protectors and help out the whole system.
Mm.
You might ask this part how old it thinks you are.
Say teenager or early 20s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, going back to kind of earlier experiences, was there a time in your teens when this part had to get really active? Was there a time in your teens when that feeling of not good enough was coming on too strong and triggered this part? Just something to look for. Again, not anything that you have to share with me or that we need to, dive into in this conversation, but it's just good to kind of start making that map.
Something that comes up is the feeling of not belonging and not really being part of a group of friends.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sometimes, and I still do, more have single friends and not like being part of a group of friends.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Always feeling like a bit singled out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it sounds like there's parts in you that are still carrying some of that just sadness around that experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can let this part know your real age. Let it know that you have all the resources you have now, and the ability to talk to parts and heal parts.
I'm trying to take it into my arms and giving it a hug.
Yeah. How's that?
It's helping.
Yeah.
I think it
You could
feels
try.
understood.
Yeah, great.
At
That's what
least
we're going
felt
for.
that the sadness and this frustration was being felt.
Yeah. Just let it know that you plan to get to all of that. Again, that the way it's feeling, it can share with you. And if there are other parts, that you can get to them too. And maybe ask what it would need from you going forward.
It's confused by the question.
So when you get off the phone with me, and assuming you stop hugging this part, maybe you'll be back at work, or it might feel triggered again when someone is trying to give you an award or whatever. What will it need from you? Maybe in the way that you show up in the world, or maybe in the way that you communicate with it in the future.
It's way too scared to go on stage. That's not an option.
Mm-hmm.
Which would also be very drastically, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think it needs someone to stand by its side.
Yeah. Well, you can create all that. You can be the one who stands by its side, or you can even ask if there are other parts that it wants to hang out with. You could also set up something where when you go on stage, it gets to stay behind and it can stay in a comfortable place. So you can kind of brainstorm.
I think I would
that
like to sit in the audience.
Uh-huh.
That would be okay.
Yeah.
Like kind of seeing me standing there and getting this for what I've done, that would be kind of a feedback that it needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can set that up with it, and you can even practice that. You can practice being with a part and then kind of seeing yourself walking away from a part and then going back to it. And just see if that works for it.
Starts crying.
Yeah. Starts crying when you walk away.
No, when it sees me there on the stage.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
And is wondering how I made it there.
Oh, is it crying because it's proud of you?
I bet, yeah.
Yeah. Sounds sweet.
And when it gets to look at the Urkunde, like the framed certificate. What is it called in English? I don't know.
Certificate. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Certificate. What else does it need from you in the future?
Maybe it's exactly that it needs to be carefully taken to those places where true feedback is coming, and then accepting that and seeing that it makes me happy if I get feedback from people who understand what I do, and that it needs to celebrate that.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah.
And do you feel like that's something you can do for it?
Maybe I can take it to those places, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Just let it know that you're open to that, and again, that you can keep connecting with this part, well, forever. And it can make all the requests of you at once, that you're open to hearing those. Earlier, when we were first contacting this part, there was another part that said, well, you should want it. You should want this award. You can't say no. And you might want to check in on that part and just maybe kind of let it know or show it how you've been able to connect with this part. and just let it know that it doesn't have to fight it so much if you're able to communicate like this with it.
It's a bit surprised that this younger part was happy to see me on the stage,
Mm-hmm.
and could
Yeah.
be that it was proud that the small part, the young part, could feel this proudness.
Yeah. So how's it all feeling in there now?
Warmer, not hot, but warm.
Not hot, warm, right? Yes. Yes, yes. Okay.
Yeah, I
Any of these?
can still hold this younger part in my hand and walk
Mhm.
around with it and show it a little bit around.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do any of these parts have any other concerns that they want to share with us?
I think the younger part wants to see more and is asking if it can go further and if it can explore a bit with me on its hand. If we can have a look around more
Yeah,
wider.
And how do you respond to that?
I would love to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd love to help you go to any of these other parts in the future if you want to call in and work with me more. I'm having fun, so my door is open.
That's great.
Yeah. I forgot to ask you when we started talking, if you had kind of, I know that you had like heard of IFS and you listened to this podcast, but have you kind of done IFS before?
I've tried to do it for myself and sometimes it works. So, for example, when I was on a long train ride and trying to do it, I could see a whip, a hand holding a whip and going on with it.
Uh-huh.
So, and at some point I saw a woman dressed in a white dress and coming out of my lower right rib cage and just having a look around, and all I could do for it was offering it a cup of tea. And then it vanished again. So I can sometimes try to see parts, and then they have a form or something. And sometimes I can do a very little bit for them, like hugging them or offering tea or something. But then I don't get much further. So that's what I've been trying to do.
Yeah.
But it's much easier if somebody else asks the questions.
Yeah. Yeah. It's easier to just focus on the inner work while someone else provides the prompts.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm happy to keep doing it.
That'd be amazing.
So thank you. Thanks to all your parts for showing up and playing along.
The young one is waving to you.
Do you detect how old this part is?
It's gotten younger but taller.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's now more 12-ish.
Uh-huh.
But it's also more curious.
Sounds like you're in a great place to work with it, and I hope you do. Those younger parts are often, they have so much to offer, but they also usually have a lot of vulnerability. So just beware of that. And those protectors that don't want you to go there, they might pop up.
It still needs me to hold my hand, like it's not letting go of my hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that all feels good for you.
It feels good. I'm just wondering how I can leave it, like, for today.
Yeah, so you can...
And not being upset directly.
Yeah, try asking it. Ask it how you can end your time with it while minimizing how much it might be upset. Is there a place it would like to go, or other parts it would like to be with, or anything else?
One thing is I could actually bring it to bed.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't want to sleep yet, so... Oh, can I find some company for you?
And make sure that it knows that you'll be back, that you want to get to know it more, and that this is just the start of your...
Yeah, but it
journey.
kind of needs a place to be until then, and a safe place to be.
I wonder if there's kind of like a caretaking part, if there's a kindly grandmother part in there or something that I'd like to be around. Or a fantasy place.
Mm. Like once a place where it can sit and wait safely until I come back.
Yeah. Go ahead and let it show you what that place would look like, and you can kind of design that. You can have all the comfort things that it wants.
It wants a bed and a teddy bear.
Yeah.
That's not alone. It really wants to make sure it's not alone.
It wants to make sure that it's what?
It's not alone.
Yeah, not alone, right.
Yeah.
Another way that you can kind of stay somewhat in contact with it is you can kind of designate a place on your body that you might touch into, that just kind of lets it know that maybe that's its place, and that you haven't forgotten about it. And you can
the feeling moved closer to my heart, so to the left side of my chest.
Yeah. And you could just test it out and ask the part if that works for it, for you to just kind of touch into that.
Yeah, it likes that.
You'll be back for it, right?
I feel like I cannot fully promise it that. Because when will I take the time to do that? That is so hard to say.
Yeah.
And to mean it, not just to say it, but to mean it.
I appreciate that. If we were going to keep working together, we would probably talk. Let's say we talked every week or every other week. We would usually start with kind of a protective part. And it sounds like you're able to go to these younger parts and connect with them really quickly. So I imagine even if you waited until you spoke with me again, that we would probably be seeing it. Or we could just agree to do that the next time we talk. Or you can come up with some other rituals for it.
I know how hard it's to implement rituals in my daily schedule,
Yeah.
and it feels that I'm not.
Well, they don't have to be very long in duration. Sometimes it can be just a minute or less that you're tuning into parts, letting them know that you're there, letting them know that you haven't forgotten about them.
If I promise it to try, it's still sad, but I probably won't be able to completely convince it.
I don't know. I think I'm out of ideas.
Me too.
I mean, I can promise it that I'll send you an email and invite you to come back, and I will even make more time on my calendar if those times don't work. I know it's been kind of booked up lately, but I'm happy to find space for you.
That's a very generous offer.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Yeah, I think the combination of me trying to come back to it very soon and just checking in with it, and then maybe the option of you kind of kicking my butt to do that.
Yeah,
that's okay for it.
I'll send you 2 emails then. How's that?
No, one is fine. Yeah, but I think it can slowly let go.
All right.
And snuggle up.
There you go. Okay. Anything else? Any other parts have any other concerns?
Kind of something telling me, well, yeah, let's see if we can do that and really like meet the expectations to meet with the part again.
Yeah. You can do it.
Yeah. Do you have any tips for keeping a routine, or how to quickly access parts like this?
Yes. I'm kind of smiling because I feel like I have too many tips.
That's good.
I don't know. I'm kind of obsessed with like routines and things of that nature. So I also have ADHD, and so that's a big part of how I've managed my life successfully is with routines. So just start small, I guess, is my biggest advice. You're not committing to anything major. It can just be, well, 2 things. Start small and tie it to something, meaning when I take a shower, when I brush my teeth, when I do something that I'm already doing every day, then I take 30 seconds to check in with this part.
I think your sound is breaking up.
And if 30 seconds sounds like a lot, oh, my sound is breaking up? Okay, I'll say it all again. So tie it to something like a routine that you're already doing, like brushing your teeth or getting in the shower, and make it small enough that it's laughably easy. So if 30 seconds of checking in with a part sounds like too much, do it for 3 seconds. Just whatever.
But how in
do.
3 seconds can I access a part?
Well, you can just see it there, and it's with its teddy bear, and you can say hello. And yes, maybe you're not having a conversation with it, but you asked how to build the habit, and that's kind of my answer for building routines and habits is just make it make it so simple, make it so easy.
So really just reimagining the way that I left it, and then the situation, like the habitat I left it in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just again, maybe you're touching in to that place on your chest. Maybe you're just saying hello to it. You're just saying, I remember you.
Okay.
I'm coming back. And, it could be that simple as far as just building the habit.
That sounds really doable.
Yes. That's what we're going for. That's awesome. If you have any other questions, concerns, comments, feedback, let me know.
I'm really surprised where we gotten. So that we found this part.
Yeah.
Underneath all of these others, and yeah.
Yeah. I feel like all the IFS conversations I have are surprising. It's always like that. You think you're going one place, and then the parts have that trust to show you kind of the fears behind the fears. They show you the other parts that are involved, and it's incredible. It's going to these different worlds.
I could do too. I would love to spend a day on this, or even more, like just getting closer to all the parts and knowing more.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's talk more, and I can suggest other exercises, or yeah, I'm happy to provide any resources that I can, and maybe you've inspired me to. I'll have to create my day-long IFS program.
I was always kind of looking for something where like all these questions that you should ask yourself are kind of in one audio file that you can kind of have a meditation. I know there's some stuff from Richard Schwartz on
Insight Timer.
Yeah, exactly. But it wasn't really something where like you go in deep. But going in deep is so hard to do in a structured audio file, I think.
Yes, it is hard.
Really...
And he's also really careful about, he has such a big audience, and he has all of the licensing and regulations around being a professional therapist, psychologist, which I don't have. Yeah. So he is very careful about the resources he puts out not getting too deep, because it can be a lot of challenges that come up around that.
Yeah. Feels complete for today.
Great. Maybe another thing I could recommend is certain callers I've worked with who have come back over, and I don't know how many of my conversations with other people you've listened to, but sometimes when I'm working with someone new, I'll suggest, there might be another caller that you would particularly connect with or like to hear their journey. So that's something else I can think about.
That'd be cool.
And of course, there's the Discord server. You can come and chat with some folks, some of whom have called in.
Yeah. Would you can you recommend it now, or would you send up an email?
Yeah. So the way that you contacted me was through a link that is in the podcast, I believe.
I think it was on the Notion side, or on the website. Where was it?
On the front page of the website, there's an invitation to the Discord server.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
That's where we're live chatting.
Okay.
And there's also a link on all the podcasts that I put out. And that's I'm pretty slow on email. So if you want to get my attention, I'm pretty slow on Discord too, but that's like 1 day instead of 3 days response time.
But from the top of your head, do you remember one of the people I should listen to?
No, I'd have to think about it.
Okay.
I think they're all interesting in their own ways, but
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, all the conversations, even the ones where I feel like I'm doing a terrible job, I find fascinating. And IFS still seems to work even when I'm not on my A game. So, but yeah, I'll think about that. Get back to you.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you a lot.
Thank you so much. Have a great night. And
Yes, you too.
check that calendar link again. I'm going to go send you an email.
Yes, thanks.
Okay. Okay. All right. Good night.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube, and they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.